Let's talk about Invincible, Season 2,
Invincible.
Episode 5. So,
Yeah.
I think we both found out about it, or remembered it, at around the same time, because I realized, I was like, oh, is Invincible back on? And then you texted me, like, a few hours later. I was like, I just realized that, too.
Yeah,
So-
I'm like, oh, it's out today or yesterday or whatever. I'm like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm glad. I didn't realize.
Yep.
Okay.
So let's give our thoughts. I'll let you go ahead and give your thoughts and score on it, and then I'll give mine.
I thought this picked up. I thought it picked up real good after episode 4. I think it's a good continuation. I think it's on par with episode 4. I think it's better than the first few episodes of part 1. I would give this one probably an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. There were some pretty brutal and intense fight scenes, and just emotionally, just him with him finding out the brother and everything. But I liked it. I enjoyed it. The storylines felt like in this episode felt important to the story, and it wasn't just random setups for futures. Like it felt like every plot point felt like it should be in this episode. Because in some of the episodes in the beginning of season 2, there were some random, like the lizard people, and it's like would randomly be thrown in there, like, which I'm sure in the future episodes like great, but like in this episode it felt very, like, I don't know, it felt very connected, connective tissue. So I liked it. I enjoyed it. 8 out of 10.
I tend to agree. I had some problems with this episode, but I'm trying to distance it from, I feel like most of my issues with this episode stem from the break that they had. And so I'm trying to like take that out a little bit and base it just solely on the episode. So I was between a 7 or an 8. I ended up going with an 8 because I do think it's a really good episode. The biggest downsides I had were just like we had to wait 2-3 months or however long it was. And it kind of just killed a little bit of momentum for me. But on its own, I think it was a really good episode. So yeah, I'd give it an 8. It was good to see like the fallout after what happened in the end of the first half of the season. I do think the second half of this episode was much better than the first. Like it really just kind of escalated and turned into a really good episode in the second half. I don't think I can really say anything else without getting into spoilers. So yeah, I'll give it an 8.
Would you put it above the first 3 episodes of the season?
I think so, yeah. Because like you said,
on par with the 4th episode.
I don't remember what I gave the 4th episode. I'll have to go and look at my score, and it's been a little while since we've seen it. That's part of the problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the second half of this episode was probably some of the stronger parts of this whole season.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to get into spoilers for Invincible Season 2, Episode 5.
You've been warned.
Okay.
All right, I'll let you start with this one.
So my problem with this episode, and again, I think it's mostly because of the break, is it seemed like the first half of this episode was a cool down for everything that happened at the end of episode 4, which would have worked perfectly if we got it the next week.
Yeah.
But we got it 3 months later or
not
whatever.
As like a premiere kind of for second half.
Yeah, so the first half of the episode felt a little slower. It was a lot of, Mark getting back, Mark talking to his mom, Mark talking to his girlfriend, and just explaining to everybody what happened, where he was, which it wasn't bad. And it was, I guess it kind of worked to get me back into it, to remember, okay, yeah, that happened. He now has to take care of his brother. So I guess it's not all bad. I think I'm mostly just annoyed at the break. I wish they would have just pushed off.
What you're saying, though.
Pushed off the first half of the season.
Yeah, like 2 months, 3-month break or whatever it was. Like, I get what you're saying. Kind of starts slow.
But I do think like the stuff with his brother is interesting and is a really weird situation, especially for Debbie, who's just finally now trying to get back on her feet. And now she has, her ex-husband's son with some other alien woman. It's a weird situation. But it'll be interesting seeing him grow up like faster and catching up to Mark and see what they do with him. So I'm excited to see that in the future. What did you think of that, the brother stuff?
I liked it too. It's interesting. I mean, it's as interesting as it is, like in this episode specifically, it kind of played out exactly how I knew it would. He'd bring him home. Mom would have to watch over him. It'd be a weird situation. So like, it is interesting, but it's also predictable, at least right now.
Yeah.
But no, I did like it, and I do think in the future it's going to be even more interesting.
Another thing that happened in the first half of the episode that I think was a little better was Donald's scene where he's like, I'm interested to see where they go with him. It's still this part of the episode felt more like set up for future, but him finding out.
This is the one part I was going to say that did feel a little separate.
Yeah, I did like the scene where he kind of freaked out and told everybody to get out and stood up for himself. That was good to see.
Yeah, because even he's like, even a what's his face, like, oh, okay, you got my attention.
Yeah,
like, you don't yell, dude.
And then him finding out that basically all of his body has been replaced with a robot body.
Pretty like super strong, pretty much.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if he's gonna join one of the superhero teams or just still kind of.
That would be awesome, though.
Yeah, or if he's still just gonna be Cecil's right-hand man. Yeah, seeing him with all the other superheroes would be kind of funny.
It would be hilarious. Yeah, I would like that. But
just
I'm very
Donald
curious
standing there.
Yeah, because we haven't read the comics or anything, so like I don't know where if it's even in comics or where it goes. So like for us, it's a surprise. What other plot points?
I feel like that was mostly the first half of the episode was Mark getting back, talking to everybody, and then the Donald stuff.
Girlfriend too. It's not like I don't dislike her character this season, but I just don't care about her. Do you get the same feeling?
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing because they kind of like changed her character to not really care that Mark's a little more distant with his superhero stuff, but I don't know where it goes from here. I don't know. She definitely doesn't seem as important this season.
I wonder if her character goes like in a different direction, like you said in the comics, but does she turn like evil eventually, and like maybe then we'll care about her storyline, or I'm curious or she dies. Like I wonder.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I agree. Like it's kind of a boring storyline because there's nothing really there right now.
Yeah.
And I don't care about their relationship. Do you?
No, not really. Especially this season, it doesn't even feel like they're really in a relationship that often.
I know. Yeah, it's really the college stuff. Really, like I don't care about because we haven't really seen anything at the college. Really,
it kind of seems like
I like the idea.
He might even get kicked out of college because he's never there.
Yeah, so that kind of side of the story for me is the least interesting, just because I don't care about any of the characters away at college. We haven't seen anything really.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, that was the whole first half, and then what was the second half?
So
the mission, pretty much.
Yeah, the Sequids are coming to Earth, and they so at some point
what's his face is hilarious too.
The Shapesmith.
Yeah, he was so funny.
Yeah, he's always pretty. I've always enjoyed how his comedy in these, him trying to be human, and that whole fight with the omnipotent guy kind of was. I feel like that was in the first half, kind of, but we didn't see much of it, and I think the only real reason for it was to show that he was a Martian to, was it Bulletproof that found that out? And then there was a funny scene where Cecil's like, yeah, of course we knew you were a Martian.
Yeah. He was like, like, you're lying? You're like, no, I was lying. I'm not lying now. I was just cracking up with something.
There is a character who I feel like kind of stole the show in the second half of this episode, and I think that was Rex. I feel like he really stepped up and took a bigger part of the limelight in this episode with his talk with Eve and kind of getting her back in the fight, and it actually showed that he can be kind of a good guy sometimes, not just a jerk all the time.
Even though like he still needs something, like I really do think he cares.
Yeah, and then obviously the ending, which we'll get to, but yeah, he had a big part in that too. So the Sequids are coming, and they send all of the superheroes who would be impervious to their like mind control thing with their Legion mind, and so they all go up to space to fight them, and that leaves Duplicate, Rex, Shrinking Ray back at base to hold down the base.
And I think nothing's gonna go wrong, right? Ordering pizza.
Yeah, they're ordering pizza. I will say one other negative I have for this is the stuff with the Sequids. I feel like the animation was just okay. It wasn't super strong. Like it kind of just looked like a wave of mush, kind of. I don't know if you noticed that, but
I did. I agree.
And they were just kind of like punching it. Like that. Yeah, they're just kind of like standing there punching. It's like, is that really all they can do? But I did like Eve's stuff, and that was cool. Like her being able to save them when their ship broke up and then get them on board the other ship.
All cool. The people who could fly pushed the force bubble to the ship, and then she like just
phased them through.
Fuse the thing. Yeah, phased them through, whatever.
Yeah. So that was good seeing Eve back in action. And where did that part end? Rudy was trying to like set up something to take them all out at once, and they were trying to keep him safe, but it kind of just ended on a cliffhanger kind of thing, right? Where they're about to get overrun by him. I think the bubble,
because it kept going back and forth between that and then on Earth.
I think the bubble popped, and that's kind of where it left. Is they're like about to be taken over by the Sequids because Eve's thing went down.
That's right, because they're going to that, and then they're going to to what was happening with Rex and them, which to me was far more interesting personally.
I agree. Yeah, I'm saving that for the end because that is definitely the best part of this episode. So yeah, well, that's all going on in space. Rex, Duplicate, and Shrinking Ray are back at the base ordering pizza, and then finally, this lizard group that we've been hearing about randomly through the first 4 episodes show up and try and take over the Guardians of the Globe, their headquarters.
Guardians of the Globe, yeah. Because all the big wigs are up its face.
Yep, they have all the like C-tier superheroes back at the base.
Yeah.
So they get in and they're not expecting anyone to be there. The lizard people, it kind of seemed like, and they were just gonna take it over and try and get money, I guess. But yeah, that's when things really kicked off. So they take it over, and then Shrinking Ray shrinks down and gets inside and lets Rex and Kate in. And then that fight scene, I think, was one of the best of the season. It's up there with the Viltrumite fights, I feel like, because it was brutal.
I don't know. This was more interesting for me just because it was just different powers being used and kind of C-tier, like you said, heroes trying to fight. And Rex, you hit it on the nail. Rex just stole the show for me. Like, I liked Rex in the past, but like in this episode, like I didn't want him to die. Like, I was hoping, like, don't die, dude, don't die. Like, I was rooting for him. Like, they did a good job of setting up this ending.
I agree. And I feel like over the Viltrumite fight, this one feels like it almost has more stakes because they're not all Viltrumites, because Viltrumites can take so much damage and still be fine.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So, and like, I don't expect like these characters to die like right now, to lizard people.
I did not expect that, yeah.
It was brutal.
I think, was Kate the first one to die? So
Duplicate was, because she was
fighting the big guy.
She's just, duplicating, fighting, and big guy's crushing one by one by one, and then eventually she duplicates once more, and then like he crushes them both at the same time or rips them in half or whatever. I don't remember specifically.
That moment when he gets both of the, like, as long as she has her main one, she's still fine, right? But he grabs the main one and the duplicated one, and you could just see the fear. You could hear it in her voice. She's like, help, and she looked terrified, and then he just crunch, she's dead.
Yeah, because Rex and what's her name? Shrinking what?
Ray.
Rex and Shrinking Ray were obviously distracted with the other lizard people, but I think Rex was like watching, kind of like no, like, didn't he say something like no?
Yeah.
Rex! Ray! Help!
Hold on!
I think he noticed.
Noticed
right before it happened.
And then it was Shrinking Ray.
Yeah,
that was another brutal one.
She did get. I think she killed one of them by like going into the eye and then popping out, which was pretty cool. But then she tried the same thing with him, and he just kind of chomped her. Or he has a
because even Rex was like she doesn't only shrink, right?
Yeah, that's true. But man, his intestinal system or whatever, stomach, throat, whatever is strong. He just like chomped down on her.
She was trying to expand inside him, right?
Yep.
And then like, because I was like, oh, okay, she's gonna kill him, because Rex is like, oh, she grows in size, like she'll be fine. He just freaking chomps her down.
Yeah, because it started, you could like see her bulging out of him, and then he's just like, nope.
I know, I'm like, oh my lord. And then Rex's moment,
he puts up a good fight. So he gets one of his bombs into the guy's mouth, right, and it explodes. But his hand comes with it, so he like loses a hand. And
that was brutal. I'm like, oh my god, are they gonna kill him?
And I forget when it ended. Did it end with the main guy killing Rex, or is Rex still alive? Do we know? I forget.
I think Rex is still alive.
Okay.
But I don't know, for me, like, I think you're right. I think it just, because it's not Viltrumites fighting, and I don't know why, but I just felt like Rex, I don't want to say he was untouchable, but he was one of those characters where I felt like would never die. He'd always linger around.
Yeah, because maybe he doesn't get into those big fights or like stays at a safe distance. He knows he's not the strongest, so he kind of keeps himself safe. But
so like, I wasn't expecting this at all. Like, I really
me neither.
And I think that's why I was so pleasantly surprised. Like, I get what you're saying. The first half was a little slower, kind of build up, or not build up, but fallout from last episode. But man, dude, this last 15 or so minutes, specifically with Rex and them.
I mean, it was so good. That's why I still gave it an 8, despite my issues with the first half.
True.
It was.
I will say though, I do agree with you. The people in space, what are those worm things called?
The sequids.
The sequids. Maybe it's because what was happening down here was so intense. I wasn't as into what was happening up there.
I feel like they didn't spend as much time there or something, but yeah, I agree with you. Like, it's a really interesting idea, this thing that like takes over. It's kind of like the flood, right?
Yeah,
so it could be really
true.
devastating, but it didn't feel as impactful.
Why do you think that is? Is it because like they just did such a good job with Rex and the team on the ground where you felt so bad and you weren't expecting it? Is that why?
And there were actual deaths that I wasn't expecting, whereas in the other one they're just kind of in a bad spot, but they could still get out of it maybe.
Yeah, I agree, because all the people in space, I don't know, they're like the big strong people, they could fly, all this stuff. So yeah. I don't know, I agree with you. It just felt, I wasn't expecting the deaths. It felt gritty. It was just intense.
Yeah, that ending was
it got me excited for the next episode.
It did get me excited. Yeah, I'm curious what happens to Rex. And I
hope he doesn't die.
Yeah, I know, I do too. After his talk with Eve though, and this stuff started happening, I'm like, oh no, that doesn't look good for Rex. He had a nice heartwarming moment. That's not great.
They're finally humanizing him a little bit. And, yeah.
There was an well, not really credits, but
that's right.
There was a scene right after this with Alan. Yeah, so he's still alive, and I loved the part where Thaddeus or something, the guy played by Optimus Prime. Thaddeus, where the reveal of him being a Viltrumite is just him taking off his beard and just having a mustache. That was pretty funny.
It's like Clark Kent.
But I did like that.
So
I like that Alan's still alive. I'm kind of glad that Thaddeus isn't actually bad, because it kind of set up that with him taking Alan off of life support.
I think that's such a cool idea of having a Viltrumite, like a rogue Viltrumite that's good. I think that's cool. Yeah, I'm excited for that.
And it gives Mark someone who could be, someone to go to figure out his Viltrumite stuff, what's going on with the Empire coming, and it gives him an ally.
He'd be like the Yoda or Obi-Wan or whatever.
Yeah, so
that's Alan.
Yeah, I know. So with Alan, I kind of have a theory that possibly Alan's going to bail them out from the Sequid thing. He might come in and help or something. But I don't know. They could get out in different ways.
You're probably right, actually. I mean, Thaddeus or whatever did say, like, we can go get Mark. Yeah, I don't know. I liked that. I totally forgot about that scene because we're talking about Rex and them. But that was interesting too. 3 more episodes, right? Isn't there only 8 episodes?
Yeah, I think so. 3 more.
Even though it feels like we just got it back, because we did just get it back.
True, yep.
2 years wait, 8 episodes.
But it's good, so I'll give it a little bit of a break on that.
It is good. Still not level 1, season 1 good for me.
Sure, yeah. Especially that one episode in season 1, yeah.
Yeah, but we'll see. I mean, there's still 3 episodes, and I do like, again, I think I mentioned it before the spoilers, I just love how much more contained this felt. Like, every storyline felt important in this.
Yeah, and instead of just setting things up, they're actually paying things off. We got both this episode. We got payoff and setup, instead of some of the other episodes. It was like 5 different things setting up with not really any payoff.
I think it was like episode 3, like where he went under to the sea creature thing. God damn, so much going on in that episode. I'm like, Jesus. Anyways, I'm excited. 8 out of 10. Glad it's back, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm very glad it's back, even though it was a surprise, but it was a nice surprise.
Yeah, pleasant surprise.
All right, well, we'll talk about this again next week then.